Believe in the mandatory buyback of quote-unquote assault weapons, and whether or not you do, how does that idea not go against fundamentally the Second Amendment?
Yeah, great question. I do believe that we need to do buybacks. I'll tell you, when elected president, if the United States Congress continues to fail to have the courage to do something about this, I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country. But we still have to deal with the over 2 million assault weapons that are currently in the streets of America. And so a buyback program is a good idea.
Well, folks, we got another blast from the past, you could call it, with Kamala Harris. And I got to tell you, I personally believe that if someone lies during a debate, during a speech, during anything involving their promise to Americans or what their policy is going to be like when they're president, I think that should be a jailable offense. It's not something Americans mess around with. We are voting for you based on what you say, and if we take you at your word, that should be sacred. It shouldn't be, well, I'm a gun owner, so we're not going to touch your guns. And then 5 days later, call for an assault weapons ban. What do you think a ban is? If somebody bans alcohol from their premises, what does that mean? That means that they're taking away your ability to drink or to simply have alcohol on your person. Same thing with banning guns.
Assault weapons are designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly, and have no place, I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
And have no place on the streets of a civil society. We need universal background checks, which, to your point about handguns, is about saying that it is just reasonable to want reasonable gun safety laws that say we should do background checks, that we ought to know. It's just reasonable. You might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon. If they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others, you might just want to know.
And respectfully, we do understand that.
But you're asking about...
I'm asking specifically about handguns, because many of those handguns aren't purchased in places.
Universal background checks apply to handguns.
Yes.
They do.
But in many instances, those handguns aren't even bought lawfully. Yes.
Which is why I also have been very adamant for years. In fact, I myself protested at a gun show probably 10, 15 years ago about the gun show loophole and why we need to close that. Because what ends up happening is that gun shows at flea markets, gun dealers are not, under existing law in the past, required to register their sales. And so you are exactly right that a lot of homicides, for example, a good number of them, I don't have the statistic in front of my mind. Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them. But we do need an assault weapons ban.
Kamala says that she's not going to take our guns, but she's going to ban them. That is the same exact thing, Kamala. I don't know who advises Kamala, but somebody should really tell her that she's not that intelligent, and she's not that slick either. Do you really think Americans are sitting here saying, oh, well, she said it on the debate, so that means she's not going to do it, even though she's calling for assault weapon bans and gun registration, red flag laws, essentially gun confiscation. Kamala, you are probably getting not even 1% of gun owners voting for you. So why don't you just fuck off on the subject? We all know that you are going to be the most tyrannical president that has ever lived in terms of guns. We know it. You're not fooling anybody. And that's it. Can we move past it? Or are you going to continue to try to lie to get a couple extra votes? I don't even know any gun owner who would vote for you in general, even on issues that aren't about guns. Well, the reason why we're talking about this again is because there was a clip from, I don't know when it was, of Kamala talking about some of the operations that she would want to do. What her mindset is as far as you and I as civilians and her as a almighty, powerful government person. And when I say that, it's exactly what I said. They think that they're God. They think that your rights don't matter. They think that they can do whatever they want to you because they're in the government and you're just a lowly citizen. And we all say fuck you to them for that. We put you there. You have a job because of us. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You answer to the people. So clearly this is tyrannical behavior, but once again, it's not just about guns. They just tried to assassinate President Trump again. Is that a coincidence or is it just symbolism? Symbolism of tyranny throughout every aspect of our country. And just like how they're trying to take out Trump, they're also trying to take away our health freedoms. And their second target right now is NMN. They want to turn NMN into a prescription anti-aging drug, monopolize the market, and then shoot the price through the roof. Why? Because it works. I have been using it for 6 months, and the benefits of it are absolutely ridiculous. It cuts age-related weight gain, manages blood pressure, and helps replace NAD+, which fights aging. So, once again, I asked them to give y'all an awesome deal. This is going to be for the next 48 hours. You buy 2, you get 1 free. Get it while they last. No telling how much longer we're going to be able to buy this stuff. And a big thank you to Antonio and the Black Forest group for sponsoring this video and fighting for our health. So here she is talking about how she can enter anybody's house who owns a gun and just check on them.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Have you heard from...
Oh, that's good, Kamala. That's good. That's fantastic. Why don't we unpack this for a second? So let's go over the part where you said just because you legally possess a gun. Where in the Second Amendment does it say it has to be legal? As far as I can tell, it says shall not be infringed. Not only if it's legal, but let's go over how this would go, because I love these scenarios. She's saying that she can come into your house and take a look at your gun, even if it's legal, to make sure that you're being responsible with it. Okay, Kamala, what does responsible mean? Does that mean having your gun locked in your safe 24/7? Great. You might as well not have one, because if a robber breaks in, just kicks your door in with a gun, you're not going to have time to go get your gun. You're not going to have time. So is that not responsible? Now, when kids come into play, yeah, there are certain things that you can do to have a gun accessible with it not being in your safe. People have to be smart about it though. But that's not on the government to sit there and say, well, we can just come into your house and make sure. But how do we think this would go? I'm just curious. Kamala, if you really think you can do this, why don't you start doing this? Why don't you personally go knock on people's doors and say, hey, you own a legal gun and we're the government. So we're coming in without your permission, without a warrant. I didn't hear her mention that. Without probable cause, without anything. And we're going to look at your stuff and make sure that you're being responsible based on our definition, not what it says in the Second Amendment. I would say you're probably not going to get into anybody's house. Maybe 1% of people. And it's only because those 1% of people don't know that they can say no to you if you don't have a warrant. They can tell you to fuck off, and you have to be okay with it, or else you're just tyrannical. This is the real Kamala Harris. The one that we see on TV, the one that we see in the debate, it's all fluff. That's all, oh, hey, I just gotta say what I gotta say in order to get into office. And it's a shame, because she probably has fooled some people by sitting there and just lying.